Today, my friends, I'm going to show you something very cool. Another power device, but this was a device that was made by a company who put it up on Kickstarter to help fund the startup of the product, and they requested $50,000 US to get the product running. They ended up achieving over $8 million US. That's a significant achievement, and this is part of it, but this is a product that is going to appeal to, I think, many of you, because in the next 5 years, I think a lot of you, whether you live in a house, an RV, a boat, a van, a tent, wherever you live, at some point in the next 5 years, I think a lot of you are going to be considering a similar device to what I'm going to show you today. So all we need to do to get it started is plug in our positive and our negative, and then I will show you what we're talking about. So that is going to be today. Now, I know I showed you guys a little teaser of this product before, but I've been testing it now for many, many months, and I gotta tell you, spoiler alert, I'm really kind of liking it. But this product is made by a company called EcoFlow, and I do want to say right up front, again, this is not a paid sponsorship, endorsement, nothing. They simply asked me if I wanted to review the products. I said yes, of course, because I love this kind of stuff. So they sent it to me, and I have been testing it rigorously. I've been using it almost every day for a long time now. Now, to make this particular device work, all we need is these two cables that you saw me plug in earlier, and they come down to this one MC90 adapter that we just plug right in to the back of the machine. And now it is a fully functional generator making power from the sun. Now, I know recently I showed you guys another one of these solar generators. That was the Bluetti. This is the EcoFlow Delta Pro. It's brand new. It's only just been released in the market. It was quite a while in development, as they'd spent many months working on their Kickstarter to raise the funds to get the project going. But now here it is in real life, and I gotta tell you, this thing is a beast. I mean, it's a monster. This is a full 3.6 kilowatt lithium iron phosphate battery system with a 3 kilowatt, yes, I said 3 kilowatt, 3,000 watt inverter, pure sine wave inverter built in. And the amount of power that this thing can generate in relation to some of the other ones on the market is actually quite substantial. If you remember the specifications we reviewed on the Bluetti, it is capable of handling about 700 watts of solar input. The Delta Pro, by comparison, is capable of handling 1,600 watts of solar power. That is a lot of solar power, more than double. The AC input, if you're just going to charge it from your house, this will handle 1,800 watts of input. That is a serious amount of power. It's actually the limit of one 15 amp socket in your house. Now, by comparison, most of the other ones that we've seen so far have been in the 500 to 700 watt range using external chargers. This one has the charger actually built in, so it stands to reason why this one is going to be heavier. Most of the ones that we've tested in the 2 kilowatt range are between 60 to 70 pounds. This one weighs about 98 pounds, so it's substantially heavier, but you can see that's why they put the wheels on the back and also put a carry handle right here, so you can lift this up just like you would a big piece of luggage and roll it around wherever you want. It's fully portable. This is a fully modular system as well, and you can build this up to run any size household, any environment you want. So not only can you use one of these, but you could put two of these in parallel and have 6 kilowatts of inverter and 7.2 kilowatt hours of battery storage. Then you can daisy chain a bunch of batteries in the line up to, I think it's 25 or maybe even 30 kilowatt hours, but it's a lot. You'd have no problem running your house for quite a while, except for air conditioning. Air conditioning can consume quite a lot, as we know, but even to run your normal fridge, freezers, appliances, things like that, no problem. And it has the molded handle grips here with little pieces of leather wrapped around you can remove if you want, but it just makes it a little more comfortable to lift up at both ends. So if you're a tough guy, you can lift it up on your own, no problem. It's 100 pounds, but you know, it's got two good handles, so you and a buddy can lift one handle each and carry it wherever you want to go, or just pull out the handle and roll it. Anything you want to run, you just simply plug in directly to one of the outlets and push the AC outlet button. That turns on, and instantly you have power up to 3,000 watts. And you also have a 30 amp outlet right here, which is specifically designed for RVs. Now, I've actually got an adapter I made that I'll show you where you can plug this directly into the boat. So not only can you run your normal AC appliances, but if you want, if you have trouble with your boat system or you want to back up or your batteries are dead in the boat, you can plug in the RV connector directly to your 30 amp plug in the back of the boat and run the entire boat or your battery charger just to recharge the batteries in the boat. Cool. So this is a little adapter that I made, and it takes the 30 amp marine plug and just runs it into a, well, I've converted it just for 15 amp right now. I don't have a 30 amp cable, but this is the actual connector that will plug into the front of the EcoFlow directly. With this adapter, I can actually use this just like a regular generator. If my batteries are dead in the boat and this is still full and I just need a recharge quick just to get everything boosted back up, I can take this adapter that I made and it will plug right into that connector, just like so. This plugs into the back of the boat, and then just again, turn on the AC outlets, and boom, instantly the entire boat will have power from the Delta Pro. That's pretty impressive. A little bit of a squall coming. Batten down the hatches, mateys. Looks like it'll be short-lived though, hopefully. Might be a little bit of rain come over that horizon, but we should be back in action hopefully in a few minutes. Yeah, the funny thing is, check this out. I started at 81%. It's already at 100%. It's full. It's topped up just from the one solar panel. That never ceases to impress me. It takes about 3 days if it's empty on one solar panel just to fill it up to 100%. So, you know, it gets about 1 kilowatt per day on average from the one 400 watt solar panel. That's still pretty good. I'm not unhappy with that by any stretch. The dinghy, we use about 1 kilowatt hour per day in the dinghy. So yeah, about every 3 days, this is full, and then I dump all the power into the dinghy. And it takes about 3 hours because again, the dinghy runs on a 1,000 watt charger. So that all works perfectly together. And we haven't had to run the dinghy off the boat system in a long time because I just keep running it off of this. It's so easy. Basically, I just take this, you know, it's a 15 amp extension cord, so it'll handle 1,000 watts, no problem. Plug it in. I leave that off for now. I'll stretch this out back to the dinghy. This is the power cord for the dinghy. I just plug the two of them in together. I've got the dinghy on a short tether so that it stays close to the boat in case any waves go by or anything like that. And I just wrap it around here so that the cord can't rip out. Normally we plug the dinghy in at night when it's in the hoist, but right now it's fully charged and I don't want to waste the power. So I'm going to plug in the dinghy. Now we'll turn the charger on. So again, we just push the AC on and we'll give it a few seconds and you should see the output should come up to around 1,000 watts. And that'll be the dinghy charger turning on and starting to take power from the EcoFlow. And there it is. 1,003 watts, 1,002. So it's working perfectly. Now the EcoFlow will just start dumping its power into the 9 kilowatt hour battery that's the power supply for the dinghy engine. If I wanted to dump all the power, again, it would take about 3 hours because it's a 3.6 kilowatt hour power supply. And I've done like a depth of discharge test on this, and I can actually extract up to 3.3 kilowatt hours, which is pretty impressive. I'm not unhappy with that at all either. That's over 90%. So we can actually more than fill up 3 days of average usage in the dinghy just with one charge on the EcoFlow. Now, sometimes we use a bit more power on the dinghy. If we do an excursion or something like that, we might draw an extra couple of kilowatt hours, but in that instance, we just charge the dinghy up with extra power from the boat. Because a lot of days, the boat is already full by 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon, so the afternoon we spend deciding what do we want to use the extra free power on that we don't have places to store it. So we either do loads of laundry or we charge the dinghy, you know, anything like that, just something that's going to consume some more power. But right now, this is where we're going to put the extra power today. So this will start discharging into the dinghy, and then the solar panel will kick back on again after the squall. We got a few accessory panels here, and you can see they just open up. These are accessory doors, and we've got a 12-volt output right there, which is 30 amp maximum. We got a cigarette lighter adapter outlet, so you can plug in a Coolotron or anything like that directly. Another 12-volt outlet that's 3 amp maximum. This is the switch that turns all of your 12-volt outlets. You got Ethernet connection here. This is the IoT reset, so this is what you use when you're pairing it up to your Wi-Fi system in your boat or your house, wherever it is that you're using it. And pairing, I believe there's a remote control you can use with the system as well. And you can have automatic standby on or off, everything is right there. So that's the first panel. Right below that, we've got another panel, and this is for high-speed charging. This is actually a connector the same as what you would have in an electric vehicle. So this is very high charging, and I believe it is 3.2 kilowatts is how much power that will accept, and that's very fast charging. So even if you're going to a place where you recharge your car and you have this in your trunk, you can plug in it at the charging station as well and recharge it super fast, like in an hour. Here comes the rain. Cotton Key is normally right in front of us, and now it's on our side because the wind is rotating out of the south. So we might have to buckle in and settle in for a little bit of rain. Well, the Delta Pro is meant to be used in an indoor-outdoor environment, but it's not really waterproof. I don't even know if it's really water resistant. I've had it sitting here and it works fine. I haven't had any issues, even though it's been rained on several times. Now you can hear right now it's charging the dinghy, so the fans have turned on, and the fans are not, they're not offensive by any stretch. They kind of sound like you're on the Starship Enterprise or something like that. It sounds like you're on, just in a space movie. Okay, sun is back out. Now let's flip the panels back over. Open up again. A little wet, but yeah, nice to see the sun. Looks like we should have it for a little while. I think that storm's passed. Yeah, we still got our dinghy charging. As you can see, it's been charging for a little while now. We'll have a look. So we are down to 69%, but we're taking 1,000 watts out and 130 watts still going back in, even in partial shade. So not bad. But yeah, I think some of you guys can understand why we find it amazing. We take a solar generator like this and just collect solar energy from a solar panel like that and transfer it into our dinghy back here. So we're just shuffling power around, but it all comes from the sun. And I know some of you still challenge why we call these solar generators, because they don't generate anything. But in fact, once you connect a solar panel, they do in fact generate electricity from solar power via this device right here and all the converters inside of it. It really is no different than this device right here. This is the device, of course, you guys would call a normal generator, which it is. But without this little red can of gas up here, guess what? This down here is a big useless chunk of metal, because with no fuel, no generator. Now, of course, with this device here, it's the same thing. No solar panels, no generator. But that makes it exactly the same as the gas generator, because without fuel, either one is useless. They both need fuel. This one is just using replenishable fuel. Now, the difference is, in my mind, if we're in a situation where you have been removed from access to things on the grid, whether by your own choice, your lifestyle, your location, economic situations, anything like that, and let's say you can't get gasoline for your generator for whatever reason, your generator is useless. But no matter where you are, when you are, with this and the solar panel, you will always be able to get energy, no matter what. Because even if it's raining for days and days and days, at some point, you are going to see the sun, and the sun will recharge your solar generator. That is a fact. Around the back of the system, we have a port back here, and this is where all of your inputs are located. You can see here, you've got your solar input, your AC charge speed adapter. So if you want, you can switch it to fast charging, which is just full rate. So if you have the power can accommodate that, it will recharge at 1800 watts continuously. This is your AC input cord, so there's no external charger required for this device. It's built into the entire case. Then you have your reset button right there. So if it gets overloaded, you're gonna have to depress that switch there. Under here, you've got these two panels at the back that are your auxiliary inputs, and these are if you have extra battery banks. So if you want to plug in some of the modular battery banks you'll find on their website, you can increase the capacity of the system dramatically just by putting on these extra batteries, and they're all hooked up directly through these connectors. So it's in fact completely plug and play. And that, I know, is what's going to make this type of product appealing or attractive to some of you guys, because you like plug and play. Not everybody wants to mess with wires and circuitry and everything like I do, and I try and explain it to you guys how to hook it all up, but it does take a certain amount of electronic knowledge, and you know, you have to be able to adapt and use tools and figure things out on the fly. Use testers, checking things every step of the way. With this, they give you a cable, it plugs in there, you're done. That's it. Every device you want to hook up in the daisy chain all immediately hooks into the computer, and it will update automatically in your system. Now, if there was one feature that I have to admit I am very impressed with this particular unit, because a lot of the other solar generators do not have it on the market, is the fact that you can use your iOS or Android device and log in and actually open up an app right there called EcoFlow. And as soon as you do that, it logs in, shows you all of the equipment that you have signed in on your particular app. So depending on how many devices you've got, well, how many devices will it show here? I don't know if you can see that, but I've got the one item is just the SSL Delta Pro. I click on that. It shows me that I've got 65% battery remaining. I'm outputting 1003 watts, inputting 150 watts. And not only that, but every single device that you see on the front of this unit, because you notice it has all of these USB connectors, all of these USB connectors are independently tracked on the app, which means the computer in here is isolated and regulated the output for every single output. That's very cool, because you have quite an assortment of devices that you can connect effortlessly. Again, just plug and play. You have two regular USB-A jacks, you've got two fast charging jacks that are, I believe, 15 watts, and you have two USB-C jacks that are 100 watts each. So if you want to, you can take a single output off of one of these USB-Cs. First of all, if you've got an Apple laptop or anything like that, you can plug it directly in here and it will power it without your extra AC adapter. So you can bypass having to use an AC adapter and the wall plug to power your laptop. It can charge directly from the DC battery built directly in this without even going through the inverter. That will save a lot of losses over time for sure, because you're not going through the inverter and the AC adapter, each one of course, which is going to lose about 10%. Are very close. But back in the app, you can control everything to do with the system. Got a full page of programming options, including you can regulate right here the internal charging for the AC circuit. So if you plug it into a wall, but your wall outlet's not capable of delivering 1800 watts continuous, you can dial it down to anything you want between 200 and 1800 in 100 watt increments. That's cool, because there are several instances where I have plugged it in and either the charge cord or the outlet was not capable of handling that much current. You just go in and dial it, and sometimes I want to charge other things at the same time. I don't want everything going strictly to the EcoFlow. So when we're recharging it, if we need to recharge it from the generator, I don't necessarily want this taking the full 1800 watts. I'll give this 1000 watts, the dinghy 1000 watts, and the boat 1000 watts, everything outputting together. But you can see the full list of all the key features, everything that's available for the EcoFlow Delta Pro right here in the software. It'll give you all the details of each individual outlet. So your AC stream, you got 1800 watt max of charge. The car charging supports a default of 8 amps. Your solar charging will support 1600 watts maximum. That's very nice. So your AC output has a full output of 3.6 kilowatts with a surge rating of 7.2 kilowatts. That's huge. USB-A has 12 watts maximum output. The fast charging has 18 watts maximum output. You've got two each of those. The USB-C has 100 watts maximum, and you have two of those. So that's nice because you can daisy chain some different devices together, even on a USB bus. Your car output, the cigarette lighter adapter, will output 126 watts maximum, so that's no problem if you're going to run an external device like a small fridge, freezer, or anything like that, like one of the Coolatrons. Your normal DC outputs have a 3 amp output, and your infinity port, that's the charging port on the side, is 3400 watts maximum. And the Anderson port is regulated at 12.6 volts at a maximum 30 amps output. So you're looking at about 360 watts right there. But yes, there is one thing I do find lacking in a lot of the other systems is the ability to control it from the app. I really like being able to dial everything in from the app, monitor it, and not only can you do it here, I mean, it links directly with the unit with Bluetooth when you're just here on the boat, but even when I'm on shore, this thing is connected to my Wi-Fi network on the boat, so that with this, I can dial into it from anywhere in the world and find out what it's doing, what its state of charge is, if it's charging, discharging, what's happening. I can change the settings, update it, check the firmware, everything from full remote control. That's a nice feature. The display on it is fully readable even in daylight, so that's a nice feature as well. It doesn't have a touchscreen, but again, all the features are available through the app. You remember the Blue 80 had the touchscreen, but you couldn't read the screen. It was very difficult unless you took it inside or put a black housing or something around you to shield all the light. Now, truth be known, I wish somebody would come out with a combination of the two of those. It would be very nice to have a touchscreen here to access all of the settings like you can in the app as a backup, so that if one fails, you can still get into the system and program it. Same thing with the Blue 80. If the touchscreen fails, you have no way to get into the system and reprogram it. So it would be nice to see somebody come out with one that has the touchscreen and the app control. That's what I'll be waiting for. That's going to be a nice, what I regard as a key feature. But in closing, I think I'd have to say that overall, I'm fairly impressed with this unit. There's very little that I don't like about it, aside from the obvious constraints of just having it's fairly large and it's heavy. Now, is that a deal breaker? No, especially if you're going to be using it in a house. You've got lots of room and it's easy to wheel around. It's very portable. If I'm carrying it on and off the boat, like I'm certainly not going to take it for a day trip to the beach or anything like that in the dinghy. It's not what this is designed for. But for a fully functional backup power supply for the entire boat, if my electrical system fails or anything like that, this thing will in fact run the entire boat for quite a while. Now, I'm not talking about running every single thing that I run all the time, but I did test it with our fridge and freezer on board because we've got a 5 cubic foot AC driven freezer and a 3.5 cubic foot bar fridge. And the two of them plugged in together, running off of this, ran for over 2 days before the battery shut off. So that's pretty good. That's good to know that at least if your whole power system shuts down, you have grid failure or anything like that, you have a backup power system that can keep your food frozen and fresh. Now, it does have enough power even if you wanted to crank over a washing machine or a dryer or anything like that, but really, if you're unlimited power, why would you? I mean, you're not going to use it for that type of application. It's for backup emergency power to keep your systems running, your house going, your lights going, fans going, things like that that are necessary for certain levels of comfort. Air conditioning, I mean, no, you're not going to run it off that. Can you? Yes. I mean, we've got the little window air conditioner, you remember I showed you last season, and it's a 12,000 BTU system. I ran it off the Delta Pro also, and it will run for quite a while, I must admit, but it's not going to run for days by any stretch, okay? Because the minimum requirement for that system, it's 12,000 BTUs, so it takes about 1,200 watts when it first turns on and starts cooling the boat down. Once the boat starts to cool down, it has an auto speed compressor that immediately starts dropping, and it seems to settle in at about 400 to 450 watts to maintain the temperature in the boat. Now at 400 watts, this would maintain it for quite a few hours during the day, but 10 hours, that would be 4 kilowatts. So you'd be on the outside edge. I would say it might do it for 7 or 8 hours, which is enough to get you through a day if you need to, if you really need to have your air conditioning running. But again, really, why would you? I mean, it's up to your own personal preference, but that's when you would need to have much more backup power supplies or battery banks to go along with the system. And then, yes, of course, you could run your whole house as long as you want, depending on how much you want to spend on the associated batteries. Price, of course, everybody wants to know how much is it. This is not the cheapest one on the block, it's one of the more expensive ones, but when you consider what's inside, realistically, knowing that I have a 3,000 watt inverter downstairs, and that 3,000 watt inverter weighs 60 pounds and costs $1,300 US. Now that's just the inverter. Forget the batteries. This has 3.6 kilowatts of batteries also. I've got Battleborn batteries in here that weigh 32 pounds each. and 3 of them will give you 3.6 kilowatt hours of capacity. So that means you're looking at 96 pounds in batteries plus the 60 pounds of the inverter. You're looking at 150 pounds just for the base power supplies and the inverter. Now you add in an AC charger, your solar controllers, everything else, you're going to increase on that. And plus my system in the boat is modular, so you have to know how to plug and wire everything up. This, it's all just right here. That's a big difference. Now, of course, lithium iron phosphate batteries in a 1.2 kilowatt hour configuration, which is 100 amp hour at 12 volts, that's the norm. They run anywhere between $600 to $800 each on average. So for 3 of them, you're looking at, let's say an average of $700 is $2,100 plus the $1,300 for the inverter charger. And yeah, you're quickly in the same ballpark, around $3,400, because this has a list price, I believe, of around $3,500 or $3,600. You're gonna have to check on the website to find the exact price, but it will be there on the website for sure. So again, it's not gonna be the cheapest, but it's definitely what I would consider to be a very high quality made product, and I believe it's gonna have a long-term lifespan. And the batteries internally alone have a rated lifespan of at least 3,500 charges, which is good for about 10 years. So even if you cycle this thing every single day, which nobody's going to do really, even I don't here, but you got a minimum lifespan of about 10 years built into this system. I'd be surprised if the chassis and housing and everything else lasted as long as the batteries do, but that will remain to be seen. We'll see that over time. Right now, the units have been available for a couple of years, and they're developing a much better reputation than most would have expected. They are holding in very well. Is it for you? Only you can answer that. I can't answer that for you. I'm just telling you what features it has, what applications it will fulfill, and what it might or might not do for you. And again, I haven't found too much about this particular one that I don't like. Looking forward to testing more. I've got some more on the way, so stay tuned. I mean, this isn't the first one. It's not going to be the last. I like this kind of gear, and I'm developing a lot of knowledge about it and where it's headed in the future. And that's why I'm relaying this to you guys, because I think it's going to be a part of a lot of our futures. Not just me, but a lot of you included. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's review. Thank you so much for watching. If you are somebody who has interest in possibly purchasing one of these, I believe that EcoFlow is going to give me a dedicated link and a discount code. I will put that in the description for you, so if it's there, you can follow it and just use the code, and there will be probably some kind of a reward or discount for you using the code on their website. So aside from that, take care out there, everybody. Have a great day, stay safe, and we'll see you out there. And for sure, in the next episode. Ciao for now.